Challenge bosses Tease iconic Season 40, share hopes for real world. Homecoming and Road Rules return and respond to cast treatment remarks. It's officially The Challenge, Season 40. Battle of the Eras, which makes history as the first ever season of the MTV hit with all returning players, debuts on MTV Wednesday, August 14th, and may be the most intense and emotional yet. For those who have been there since the beginning, The Challenge launched as Road Rules All Stars in 1998, then changed to Real World / Road Rules Challenge. The following year, it's been a surreal journey. I'm excited to see people like CT, Johnny Bananas, and Mark Long. I'm old school, says John Murray, founder and executive consultant of Beanie Murray Productions. You've seen how CT has emerged and how he went from being this sort of tough guy who could trigger at a moment's notice to someone who is sometimes the calmest guy in the room. It's great to be able to tell those long, evolving stories. Julie Peasy, who has worked on The Challenge since 2000 and now serves as the president of BMP and 51 Minds Entertainment, recalls looking around on set of Season 40 in Vietnam and noticing there was such a sense of something bigger, which doesn't always happen on a show. So it made it really unique. Below, Murray and Peasy up about to Variety how the game, and casting for it, has changed the state of competition reality TV today, other Beanie Murray Productions series viewers are waiting for, and much more. John, starting with you. Did you ever, when you created The Real World in 1992, think that we'd still be here talking about a spin-off that came from that idea? John Murray, we didn't know we'd be around the next week. Before The Real World launched, we had 5 years of doing pilots and nothing getting on the air. So, it was just so exciting to finally have something on the air, and that immediately connected with the MTV audience. That first episode of The Real World, MTV was typically at 0.3 as their rating in the demo. Bang, at 10 o'clock, it went to a 0.9. It tripled the numbers. By Season 4 with Miami, we were up to a 4.5 rating, which was just astronomical. From the very beginning, it was just such a joy making the show. It really did something that television hadn't done before, really bringing people from different worlds together. In addition to being great entertainment, you grow and learn as they grow and learn. Julie Peasy, when we all showed up on set, even the cast were very sentimental about it. There were certain people that were like, "There's no way I would miss this. I will do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm there." And that was really special. There were people that were on the very first season there. Looking around at all the people who have participated on the crew and cast side of this franchise for decades was pretty remarkable. And it really was such a team effort. I think there was such a sense of something bigger, which doesn't always happen on a show. So it made it really unique. Peasy, yeah, we basically digitized all the episodes and mined all the footage that we had over the 39 seasons. We looked a little bit at the success of All Stars, because All Stars really leans into that nostalgia, and we often do throwback clips. We realized how much the audience loves it, so we really had an opportunity and a real reason to do that in this season. Peasy, so when we developed the creative around All Stars, it was a little bit more fun, a little bit more comedic. So those games are very different, but we did keep The Challenge franchise intact in terms of the level of difficulty. They really are doing stunts. We have an incredible stunt team from all over the world that participates in the show every year. And so even if it was Mark Long, who is over 50, he still was participating in that level of stunts that is expected from The Challenge. The main show is hardcore and producer Justin Booth wouldn't have it any other way. It's intense, Murray. I'm excited to see people like CT, Johnny Bananas, and Mark Long. I'm old school. I go back to those folks who were originally on The Real World / Road Rules Challenge. When that's what it was called, the people who we've watched evolve, watched mature. Most of them have become really cool people. You've seen how CT has emerged and how he went from being this sort of tough guy who could trigger at a moment's notice to someone who is sometimes the calmest guy in the room. It's great to be able to tell those long, evolving stories. Peasy, Rachel Robinson was hard to get back because she has a whole business, and she has 3 children. We really wanted her to participate, because she's such a strong female competitor, and probably stronger today than she was in her 20s. I think she probably took this as a real personal challenge, but we were delighted when she was able to carve out the time to come and play. Murray, I was always a fan of. Battle of the Sexes. I was there for both of those early ones. It plays into something that's very much still current in our conversations about the roles of men and women, and what they're good at. There's nothing better than watching 2 women beat 2 guys. I mean, that's really fun. I love that format, and then I do love when a group of people have to work together as a team. I love watching to see who's going to be the leader of the team. How are they going to bring in the kooky outsider? How are they going to strategize as a team? I think that's always a fun thing. It was easy in the beginning because it was real world versus road rules. But the team structure is a fun one to play with. Often, it has to evolve into something else, but it's always fun to start there. Peasy, I really did love Battle of the Seasons. It would probably play best now with All Stars, because it's mostly real world and road rules cast, but that you have somebody that has that real history, that did one show together, and know each other that deeply, and having them complete. It was one of my favorite seasons, but it was so early. Peasy, it was incredibly hot, and it rained a lot. We shot it in the winter in America, so we could do a ton of games outside. The sun wasn't going to set until 9 p.m., and it really allowed us a lot of gameplay time. Some of the cast has spoken out about the living conditions being very difficult. What can you say about that? Peasy, we tried to create a fantasy location for our cast. We end up in castles. We've been in bunkers. We end up in places that we have to bring in bathrooms because their plumbing can't sustain. We've had to bring in generators. It's always about trying to find a location that feels like a fantasy. We were in this really remarkable castle this year in Vietnam, and we did have to bring in bathrooms, which I think, on some level, aren't as pleasant as having hotel bathrooms. But we always do our best.